Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing. It is quite late for me right now. I've left this very late in the day. But never mind that. We are going to be continuing to read The Wind in the Willows, and today I am going to make sure that I reverse time. Regardless, because it is getting very, very close. A little too close for comfort. Anyway, let's get reading. She tripped away, and presently returned with a fresh trifle, and Toad, pitching into the toast with avidity, his spirits quite restored to their usual level, told her about the boathouse, and the fish pond, and the old walled kitchen garden, and about the pigsties, and the stables, and the pigeon house, and the hen house, and about the dairy, and the wash house, and the china cupboards, and the linen presses. She liked that bit especially. And about the banqueting hall, and the fun they had there when the other animals were gathered round the table, and Toad was at his best, singing songs, telling stories, carrying on generally. Then she wanted to know about his animal friends, and was very interested in all he had to tell her about them, and how they lived, and what they did to pass their time. Of course she did not say she was fond of animals as pets, because she had the sense to see that Toad would be extremely offended. When she said good night, having filled his water jug and shaken up his straw for him... Sorry, that is really loud. That's probably fine. Excuse me. Where are we? When she had said good night, having filled his water jug and shaken up his straw for him, Toad was very much the same sanguine, self-satisfied animal that had been of old. He sang a little song or two, of the sort he used to sing at his dinner parties, curled himself up in the straw, and had an excellent night's rest, and the pleasantest of dreams. They had many interesting talks together after that, as the dreary days went on, and the gaoler's daughter grew very sorry for Toad, and thought it a great shame that her poor little animal should be locked up in prison for what seemed to her a very trivial offence. Toad, of course, in his vanity, thought that her interest in him proceeded from a growing tenderness, and he could not help half regretting that the social gulf between them was so very wide, for she was a comely lass, and evidently admired him very much. One morning the girl was very thoughtful, and answered at random, and did not seem to Toad to be paying proper attention to his witty sayings and sparkling comments. "Toad," she said presently, "just listen, please. I have an aunt who is a washerwoman." "There, there," said Toad graciously and affably. "Never mind. Think no more about it. I have several aunts who ought to be washerwomen." "Do be quiet a minute, Toad," said the girl. "You talk too much, and that's your chief fault, and I'm trying to think, and you hurt my head. As I said, I have an aunt who is a washerwoman. She does the washing for all the prisoners in this castle. We try to keep any paying business out of that sort in the family. You understand. She takes out the washing on Monday morning, and brings it in on Friday evening. This is a Thursday. Now this is what occurs to me. You're very rich, at least you're always telling me so, and she's very poor. A few pounds wouldn't make any difference to you, and it would mean a lot to her. Now, I think if she were properly approached, squared, I believe, is the word you animals use, you could come to some arrangement by which she would let you have her dress and bonnet and so on, and you could escape from the castle as the official washerwoman. You're very alike in many respects, particularly about the figure." "We're not," said the Toad in a huff. "I have a very elegant figure for what I am." "So has my aunt," replied the girl, "for what she is. But have it your own way, you horrid, proud, and grateful animal, when I'm sorry for you, and trying to help you." Yes, that's all right, thank you very much indeed," said the Toad hurriedly. "But look here, you wouldn't surely have Mr. Toad of Toad Hall going about the country disguised as a washerwoman?" "Then you can stop here as a toad," replied the girl with much spirit. "I suppose you want to go off in a coach and four." Honest Toad was always ready to admit himself in the wrong. "You are a good, kind, clever girl," he said, "and I am indeed a proud and a stupid toad. Introduce me to your worthy aunt, if you will be so kind, and I have no doubt that the excellent lady and I will be able to arrange terms satisfactory to both parties." Next evening the girl ushered her aunt into Toad's cell, bearing his week's washing pinned up in a towel. The old lady had been prepared beforehand for the interview, and the sight of certain gold sovereigns that Toad had thoughtfully placed on the table in full view practically completed the matter and left little further to discuss. In return for his cash, Toad received a cotton print gown, an apron, a shawl, and a rusty black bonnet, the only stipulation that the old lady made being that she should be gagged and bound and dumped down in a corridor. By this not very convincing artifice, she explained, aided by picturesque fiction, which she could supply herself, she hoped to retain her situation, in spite of the suspicious appearance of things. Toad was delighted with the suggestion. It would enable him to leave the prison in some style, and with his reputation for being a desperate and dangerous fellow untarnished. And he readily helped the jailer's daughter to make her aunt appear as much as possible the victim of circumstances over which she had no control. "Now it's your turn, Toad," said the girl. "Take off that coat and waistcoat of yours. You're fat enough as it is." Shaking with laughter, she proceeded to hook and eye him into the cotton print gown, arranged the shawl with a professional fold, and tied the strings of the rusty bonnet under his chin. "You're the very image of her," she giggled, "only I'm sure you never looked half so respectable in all your life before. Now, goodbye, Toad, and good luck. Go straight down the way you came up, and if anyone says anything to you, as they probably will, being but men, you can chaff back a bit, of course, but remember you're a widow woman, quite alone in the world, with a character to lose." And with that we're going to come to the end of the reading, and I'm going to do some time reversal. So, let's get on with that. Make a fire, blue fire. Good old Zarathustra to reverse time using. And we're going to go as far as we can in the time we have remaining. Which may not be all that far, to be fair. Although we do have a few minutes left. We should be able to make it at least into the 20s. Maybe even close to 30. If we're really lucky. Which it does not look like we're going to be. Time has continued again. So let's get another fire going. We have the time. Just about. 199 coal. Blue fire. Sit down. Read a book. Zarathustra. And off we go. We're going to have to go really quick if we want to get to the 30s. But I'm hesitant to say that we will make it. Yeah, I don't think we're going to make it. It's going to be close, but not quite. We made it into the 30s. Quite convincingly. Just not all the way up to the top. Yep, there we go. Still, that wasn't bad. So, with that done, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon or night. No matter what time of day it is, I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.